Welcome back to The Explainer. Look, today we're cutting straight through the hype to look at the actual on-the-ground reality of human-AI collaboration. We're going to break down the research to see exactly how this relationship between human minds and artificial intelligence is really playing out in high-stakes environments. Let's get right to it. Because, honestly, this is the elephant in the room, right? Is AI here to replace human judgment or upgrade it? Whenever we see a massive leap in tech like this, our brains just kind of default to fear. We worry about human obsolescence. We picture entire departments just wiped out by a single line of code. But the research we're unpacking today, it forces a massive pivot away from that fear towards something much more powerful: structural optimization. The data actually paints a fundamentally different and honestly far more dynamic picture of what happens when humans and machines actually team up.
Okay, let's dive right into this with Section 1, the AI augmentation shift. We're talking about a complete paradigm shift here in how we view work. The source material anchors our entire understanding with this one critical point. Rather than replacing humans, AI can augment decision-making and operational effectiveness. Now, I want to emphatically stress those two concepts, augment and operational effectiveness. This is absolutely not about handing over the keys to an algorithm and just walking away. No way. It's about adding a supercharger to the engine. The whole goal of implementing these systems is a technological amplification of what human experts are already trying to achieve. Think of it like upgrading our fundamental capabilities, right? We're clearing away that massive bottleneck of data processing so we can actually make better, faster choices.
So we really need to leave behind that old anxiety-driven mindset of humans battling robots for their jobs. That's just a distraction. The new reality of modern organizational strategy is entirely about augmenting decision-making. When you view the technology through this lens, it becomes this massive tool for empowerment. It clears away all the cognitive clutter, the endless data sorting, the repetitive spreadsheet updates, the manual tracking, all of that goes away so that human operators can focus 100% on the high-level strategic choices that actually require genuine human insight. Let's move on and see how this builds in Section 2, Synergy in Action. Because theoretical frameworks are great, but let's look at some real-world applications. Take the incredibly high-stakes environment of modern healthcare. Specifically, in Malaysian hospitals right now, AI systems are actively assisting their radiologist in the diagnostic process. Now, think about the sheer volume of visual data a human specialist processes every single day. We're talking hundreds of scans, searching for tiny microfractures or incredibly subtle anomalies that could indicate a severe illness. In this scenario, the AI steps in as an advanced, untiring scout. It instantly scans the imaging and highlights areas of interest to perfectly set up the play for the medical professionals. And this brilliantly illustrates a truly collaborative division of labor. First, the AI does the computational heavy lifting. It rapid fires through vast amounts of medical data, finds patterns, and flags anomalies at lightning speed. And the best part? It never gets fatigued. But crucially, and this is key, the AI does not make the final call. It simply hands a highly refined, pre-sorted data set over to the human expert. The radiologist then applies their years of specialized experience, the patient's context, and frankly, deep human empathy to make the final nuanced medical diagnosis. Essentially, the machine provides the needle, and the human understands what it actually means for the haystack. Now, pivoting to scale and speed, let's look at global logistics. Imagine a massive supply chain matrix that spans across continents. You're dealing with thousands of moving vehicles, wildly unpredictable weather patterns, incredibly strict delivery windows, and highly sensitive fuel consumption metrics. Managing all of that manually? Absolute nightmare. But AI? AI is the ultimate navigator. It's perfectly suited to instantly calculate and optimize millions of shifting routing variables in mere milliseconds. It handles a scale of complexity that would literally overwhelm a human dispatch team in seconds. But here is where this synergy becomes an absolute lifeline. The AI's role is routing optimization. It handles all that standard, highly complex operational lifting. It gets the trucks where they need to go under normal conditions. However, when standard parameters completely fail, say a bridge suddenly collapses, or an unprecedented superstorm hits the coast, well, that perfectly optimized algorithm just hits a brick wall. It entirely lacks the context for chaos, and that is exactly where human judgment becomes completely non-negotiable. That's when human supervisors step in to handle those emergencies. Think of it like this. The AI holds the map and plots the course, but the human handles the crisis. The human is the one scoring the goal here. They understand the unquantifiable real-world impacts of an emergency pivot. They can call up a driver, gauge the actual situation on the ground, and make a vital, intuitive leap. And here's the real secret to why this works so well. Because the AI set the optimal baseline for 99% of the route, the human supervisor has all their mental bandwidth preserved to make those critical, unexpected calls when that 1% disaster happens. Which brings us to our final synthesis in Section 3, Frameworks for Future Leaders.
So the crucial point is this. If this collaborative division of labor is our new reality, it demands a completely new approach from leadership. You can't just go out, buy some expensive software package, plug it in, and magically expect synergy. That's a recipe for operational disaster. Proactive leaders must intentionally design human-AI frameworks. We're talking about architectures that carefully balance automated intelligence right alongside human judgment. It takes deliberate organizational design. You really have to map out exactly where the algorithm stops and where the human being starts.
Now, what's really interesting about this breakdown is that leaders are essentially responsible for balancing two foundational pillars. On one side, you've got automation. This provides your underlying operational efficiency. It handles the speed, the massive scale, the endless calculations. On the flip side, you have human judgment. This provides that vital, nuanced decision-making we just saw in both the hospital and the global supply chain examples. The job of a modern leader isn't to pick a side between the machine or the person. It's to construct a seamless, highly reliable bridge between them so they feed into each other perfectly. And when that bridge is built correctly, it fulfills two core leadership mandates. First, it drives maximum efficiency. The AI speeds everything up, handles the baseline, and drastically reduces data processing errors. But second, and honestly, arguably most importantly, it maintains strict accountability. Look, you cannot hold an algorithm accountable. If something goes wrong with a medical diagnosis or a completely derailed shipment, you can't exactly fire a line of code, right? You can only hold a human accountable. Therefore, human judgment absolutely must remain the ultimate anchor for responsibility in any integrated system. Which leaves us with this final, vital question, one you really need to ask about your own organization or field. If AI brings the efficiency, do you have the framework to ensure the accountability? It is not enough to just adopt the newest tech. You have to meticulously design the synergy around it. Think deeply about how your own systems balance relentless operational algorithms with the irreplaceable nuance of human insight. Thank you so much for diving into this explainer with me today. Keep asking those big questions, and I'll see you in the next one.